Teddy B is here. I never pull this out, but hey, the podcast has been beautiful. It's been beautiful, man. I'm proud of my brother. It's an honor that he pulled up on me, and we got some things to talk about. But his creative self said he could do this over a butt kicking and pool. So I said, hey, well, this ain't gonna be nothing. This ain't gonna be nothing to me. I need you to see the details, man. Hold on, see the details. Hope you see it. Hope you see it. And I am a Leo. He's a Leo too. So you see these lions, right? I'm just saying. All I'm saying is I know God don't have like favor when it come down to games, so I won't bring God in this. But he gonna need it to be able to survive. It's live. I'm with my brother, man.
Before, man, you were saying, was talking a little bit. You was like you grew up in Vallejo.
Nah, man, I like to tell people I'm from Northern California at this point, man. Okay. From the Bay Area, from Richmond. Went to middle school and high school in Vallejo. And you know, like you meet the bulk of your friends in like Vallejo, like middle school, high school. And that's Vallejo for me. And then I moved to Sacramento mid-high school. And so I'm well-rounded all the way up 80. So I just say I'm from Northern California at this point, but Bay Area is where my family's from and my real roots.
Okay, and so mid high school, you moved from the Bay, came to Sac. Then what? So what school you go to?
So when I first moved out here, Florin High School was in South Sac, but Monterey Trails was a brand new school when I was in high school, and so I ended up being the first graduating class. So when that school opened, the way the borders operated, I started going there. And then went to Monterey Trails sophomore, junior year, and then my senior year, I actually went back to Bethel and Vallejo just to play sports, just to be with my brothers, and it was a good experience. But yeah, just a little bit of everything, bro. You from the city, right?
From the city, born and raised, man, San Fran. Went to every school out there. I think the first time I came to Sac, oh, you're not getting that.
Oh, no, you don't know. I know what your podcast is.
You're not getting that one. Woo! Look, okay.
But keep going about
yeah, man. But the city, man. Born and raised, went to every single school there, and I love everything about the city. Honestly, like that's the transportation city. You feel me? Like you don't need a whip.
You don't need a whip.
You can get a bus everywhere you go. Kind of just make everything happen, man. But I came to.
Fun fact I wanted to tell you real quick, because I know you're from the city. Fun fact, Larry June, the little homie, I think he was 2 years younger than us, but he went to Bethel. Oh, he went to yeah, he went to Bethel. He was hecka cool. He ain't followed me back yet, so if you see this, man, you ain't follow your brother back, but it's all good. Had his songs on my page since MySpace. But you said you moved to Sac when?
Then moved to Sac, I believe it was 2016. 2016. The crazy part though is this though, like we actually had a mutual friend.
Bro, we got a lot of mutual friends.
But I didn't even know you at first, you know what I'm saying? Like your name was just ringing.
Dang.
And we went to the state fair and I had me and my boy, you know CJ? CJ Hoper. He lives in Sac now, he's from the city. He's from Fillmore.
I bet I do.
Okay. Okay. Cause he
That's the only shady part of the pool table right there. It's because of the door.
You know, I'm a professional.
But my bad, what were you saying though?
So with CJ, the crazy part was
no. Bro, you making this game hot, bro. He playing right now. He playing with fire. But keep going. You said CJ State Fair.
We went to the state fair. And we met these two girls there, man. So this is way before I was married.
Yeah. We both married. We gonna talk about the whole spectrum of everything.
Most definitely. And so we met these girls, and they were from Sac. So like, we kept coming out to Sac all the time. But I kept hearing your name.
What?
Like from the girls, they was like, "Oh, we're going to this little function, or we're going here." Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So speaking of the club promotion, man, like, how did you get into that, and like, what led you?
So no, this is good. So And I'm glad we about to really track the trail all the way back because it allows for me to really put things in perspective of what's happening today. So ended up going back from Bethel. My mom was like, "What are you doing, baby? You said you was only wanted to stay at Bethel. You was only at Bethel for football. Like, you got to come back, to SAC." And so I ended up graduating from Monterey Trails after that half a year at Bethel. But at the end of the day, I applied for a whole bunch of colleges, was supposed to go to a HBCU, went on an HBCU tour junior year, punked out last minute. But I just happened to apply to a few state colleges. I wanted to go to San Diego State, got accepted to every single one I applied to except San Diego State. So I was hot, bitter for real. But I ended up picking Fresno State. The only reason was it wasn't too far, it wasn't too close. It wasn't an informed decision. And also, something I really want you to hear is I was people pleasing at the time. Like that's a real thing. Like I was people pleasing society. You get good grades, you're able to go to college, you go to college, right? Which I'm a big advocate of people. College is a big tool. And I want people to use college, not like college use them, especially when you talk about student loans and stuff like that, right? But long story short, which I'm making it kind of long, is I was people pleasing for 2 years at Fresno State. Still my family, still my people to this day. I love Fresno, but I was like, "Hey mom, like I'm about to start spending too much money here and I'm not focused. I don't know what I want to do, what I want to do." And so when I came back from Fresno State, I ended up going to city colleges. I ended up going to Sac City, Los Rios and stuff like that. But what I also realized that I was no longer my mom's baby that, is going off to college and stuff like that. I was the dude in her house that needed to get a job in X, Y, and Z. And so I ended up couch surfing. And just like you, how you was talking about meeting the girls at the state fair, my friends knew I was popular with knowing the ladies. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, I always had somewhere to stay because they knew that I could bring the ladies, the fun, the good time, even before I was a promoter. But going back to fully answering your question, I got introduced to promoting because I was at Sac City, knew a lot of people, Sidekick, LX, you already know that was a flex. If you know, you know. But very popular with just knowing people. Like I said, I lived all the way up 80 and I've always been social. And so, got introduced to promoting. It was this club called Zoku's, which was really popular out here back in the day. And that was our first true opportunity to start throwing events. And back then I was just happy, to be a promoter, make a few dollars and stuff like that. But then people start taking a notice to me of like, "Oh nah, bro, like you really nice at this." And so I went from just being a random promoter. Oh, you just doubled up on me. To being a random promoter to actually being somebody that's like top dog, paying the bills right on side of the owner, And so great partnerships, great friendships. But I truly believe on my heart of hearts that God was like, "Hey, this is a skill set I want you to build up, but this ain't for you, And the reason why I know it wasn't for me because I felt like I tried to be friendly and friends with everybody. But at the end of the day, everybody's kind of looking out for themselves. And so I was like, "Oh, dang, I gotta like beast up because I'm realizing if I don't, people gonna take advantage of me." And so people be like, "You a stiffler, like, this and this and that." But it's like, no, I've been burnt too many times. I need to make sure I get mine because people ain't gonna look out for me, And so the fact that I had to think in that way through that time of being a promoter, I knew that wasn't for me no more, but it was making really, really good money. And so I'm gonna just jump into it because I think it's important for you to hear this part. But I was making great money as a promoter. I would have a great month, okay month, and a whatever month. But I'm like, hey, I can't pay the bills if it's not consistent that way, right? While going to school on the side. And so I was like, I just need a day job to complement what I'm doing with promoting, and it's game over. Not knowing that next day job was gonna be the calling on my life. And that was working at the foster care agency, the children receiving home. And that's where I found it. And so going back to that college thing, and I'll be quiet, going back to that college thing of people pleasing, I realized that I'm a hands-on type of learner. I'm a learn by doer. And so I found my calling by doing the work. And now school makes sense. Now being educated on this particular topic make more sense because now I know what the heck I'm doing. And so I want to make sure I walked you down that because promoting was very, very good to me, but it was so much more of a lesson, and it helped me with my social skills that now I'm using for young people in the community work that I'm doing as an entrepreneur. My bad, bro. I won't go long-winded after that, 'cause I know you got a lot of questions for us.
This is Said Talk. This is what we here for, man. So like whatever you feel that's on your heart, ooh.
That didn't count because I didn't call it.
You definitely let it be known. But it's crazy because we're similar in many ways.
Yeah.
Like
that's how we connected.
Exactly. You know, and it was at a networking, you know. And so it's like we're similar in many ways because I was that guy too, you know, in my circle, bringing people together, bringing this, bringing that. Oh, Sid, let's go out and do this. Like, and then eventually I got tired of it. Like I never got into the club, which I would love to. You know, I was there on the other end of it, getting bottle service and all that. But
you was helping me out.
Yeah, I definitely was. But it was just crazy to think like there was a time in my life where when you're living in that moment, you feel like, man, like I'm really being this joy, this blessing to others, but really you're building a skill to now go into something that you actually love and it's passion, man. That's crazy. So you brought up something. You said that you got into this field where you're pretty much counseling individuals in the foster care and stuff. Like, tell me more about that. Like,
best times of my life, bro. And I tell, it's crazy because I say this so, I'm repetitive in a way because I know that I'm meeting new people that never heard it before, right? Yeah. And so especially when it comes down to our youth mentors, that's a part of Project Optimism, which I know we'll talk about, which we co-founded 8 years ago. But a lot of our mentors in our mentorship program, I tell them all the time, like, hey, you want to come here because you want to make a difference. Like, yes, that's a beautiful thing, but I really want people to truly understand, like, it's being a mentor and having a mentee, it go back and forth on who's being blessed, you know? And so it's really cool to kind of see that development of mentors realizing that aha moment, you know? And my assumption is how teachers might be with teaching, right? You're right. But how teachers might be when a kid have a light bulb over their head of getting what they're teaching. That's kind of how I feel as a mentor that's mentoring a mentor now. And so since I had such a great experience being a mentor, a counselor, I work for 2 different nonprofits and the school district of just doing this work when it comes down to youth and community engagement, that I'm like, I want to give more opportunities for people to do the same thing. And that's part of the reason why I took the leap of faith to work Project Optimism full time.
So when did it click for you? So you said like, I got to pay the bills. I'm doing this club stuff. It's cool and all. When did it click?
Listen, immediately. Like immediately. Like I didn't stop throwing parties because, like I said, it was helping me. It was helping me financially. But the shift in the priority and what, like I knew God was like, this is you. Like this is what time it is. I was for sure right away. I didn't know what it looked like, but I was locked in. And I worked for the Children Receiving Home for 4.5 years. Then I worked for a counseling agency for 2.5 years. And I worked for a school district. Well, Project Optimism got started when I was at the counseling agency, and I worked for a school district for 2 years. Yeah. And you know what we do, bro. Going back to those transferable skills when we was younger, bro, we added so much value in spaces, and I added so much value to that school district. When I took that leap of faith, they were like, well, where are you going? And I'm like, partner with Project Optimism. Because it's only one of me here at the district, but now full circle, 4 years later, we got 30 staff, bro. Not just in Sacramento, we're also in Southern California. So the ripple effect of what me and my co-founders been able to do, bro, is magical, bro. It really is. It really is.
Dang, that's powerful though. So like even with that in mind though, so you have 2, right, or CEO, co-founder, right? So you have Easily.
Oh yeah, see, there we go. So we got the nonprofit Project Optimism, and then the for-profit is Easily Done and Company. You see the play on words? You see what we did there? Yeah. But what happened with that too is that was already a thing even when I was throwing parties, but I never really utilized it yet. But that was the name. I knew I wanted to play with that idea. But the important part for me right now, it is me at the face of a lot of things. But the most important part about Easily Done in Company is the in company part. Because what I always tell people is my social capital is really, really strong. And it's my mindset towards the social capital. It's like, I'm trying to identify, same thing said, I'm gonna have you come out and speak one day. Young people, young adults, you can speak to any audience. And so what I'm saying is when I'm meeting with potential clients and figuring out what their needs are, I'm about to create a speaker series or something like that, I'm absolutely thinking about the people I can plug in, you know? And so the in company part is a testament to my social capital that I've built all these years. of people's skill set. Like, they're subject matter experts in so many different things that I'm like, oh shoot, I just want to put them in the game and have a budget attached to it. Because if you're good at something, you shouldn't do it for free if it's a budget attached to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I operate, because I'm an entrepreneur, you know? Now, granted, I absolutely think that I did a lot, and I still will do a lot of things for free. But if it's an opportunity for me to take care of somebody or for me to be taken care of, that's a no-brainer. Because I know we live in California, bro. I don't got to say nothing else. Yeah.
All the way. So these companies, it's huge, because I'm in your room right now. You know the first thing I noticed? Company. And this is what I mean, right? So we'll have a living room, right? We have our pool tables. You have your dining room. Your dining room's not for two. It's for many. Social. You get what I'm saying? And so that tells a lot about you. It tells a lot about your wife. You know, as far as we're inclusive. Look, you know what I'm saying? We're letting people in. We're inviting people in. And so it's like that speaks a lot of volumes already. But with that being said, running this up, right, with you, with your partners, is there a time when trying to grind? Because we know how it is as entrepreneurs. Is there a time when you're grinding as an entrepreneur where you felt like you had to leave people now behind because of the work? Because of the work is different.
So yes, and yes, but I would say if I'm transparent, I felt like I never had to leave people as much until I got married. Until I found my person, like this is it. Like, this is where I'm at. And that's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, the door's still open. Because where I'm going, it's not that you can't get there, it's your choice, you know? So do I think naturally people fell off before me being married? Absolutely, but I didn't really pay attention to it, because I feel like a lot of the people that I've been building with, I met them later on in life, you know? And I still got a lot of like childhood friends I'm cool with, is love. We support each other, they, you know, X, Y, and Z. But when it comes down to like meeting the right people at the right time, that's all God, bro. And it's been like that, like in every part of every business, the for-profit, the non-profit, the book. You know, I was on first exclusive on a podcast. You know, I like to build community and create settings, games, fun, questions, thought-provoking questions. And so he just bought the Life Work book. Grab it if you can. Life Work book. It's on Amazon and Lulu. The Lulu have the better copies, by the way. But also, I'm going to be doing a Life Work card experience that people are going to be able to do that with family, with their jobs, with their friends. Vibing like this, a whole bunch of people being able to have real conversations, have real fun, and it's on brand to what I'm doing as a speaker, what I'm doing as a consultant, what I'm doing as, you know, a workshop facilitator. And I think I said this off camera, but I tell people all the time, I'm not a motivational speaker, I'm an empowerment facilitator. I'm here to facilitate greatness. And you do that too. And so I don't know if they know about the big news that you were just telling me about. Do they know?
They don't know yet. But stay tuned though. Stay tuned. We got something coming for sure.
But we're like-minded, bro. We're like-minded. So I'm not surprised, and yeah, bro. Thank you for shining light on what I'm doing and asking these questions, because it's allowing for me to really process how far we've came. And you brought up Pops, bro. You already know what that is.
Well, and so the thing is this though, right?
Get into the fact that I scratched you. And you think this game would have been over? He tried to distract me with good conversation, but it's all good.
See that? Look. He started to catch on a little bit. What's going on? But look, so, oh, that was not supposed to go that way. But so at the end of the day, you're pulling people up, you're empowering people, you're giving people the confidence to do things, the power to go out and do great things, right? You said your mentor has a mentee.
Yep.
That's huge. I just finished this book, and shout out to your book. I just finished this book called Emotional Intelligence 2.0.
Yes. That's a big thing in general, but I'm trying to think. You got to send it to me, because that's really big in general for all of us, especially the pandemic alone. It highlighted that, amplified that. But for young people, emotional intelligence is really, really pivotal that they need to learn right now. So keep going.
It's huge.
You gotta pass me that.
And so just reading that book, finished it, and I've definitely, recommended it to a few other people. But it's like, It literally teaches you how to identify your emotion, say what it is. So it gives you a score off of 4 categories: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and social management, right? I took the test, and for me, it was a downer a little bit because my social awareness and social management was high. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a given. Like, I love people, you know, but then my self-awareness and self-management was low. And here I am thinking like, I got control, I know myself. But it was low really when it comes to like our marriage, right? So I've been married for 10 years. And you said, man, and you said something very important today. I'm talking, hey, I'm on the way, I'm about to slide through. I'm gonna pull up on you. And you was like, hey, you feel me? There was just like a little minor miscommunication, with the wife and I, but this will make her feel good. And when you said that, problem was just pulled over, I was just like, wow, that's impressive. Because what you did, and I don't know if you noticed that, but what you did is huge, because you're saying that, first of all, I am aware of this other person's feelings. Then secondly, social management, this is because of her feelings, because she feels this way, I'm gonna go ahead and do the things to where it's like, we're not gonna have no beef here. Nah. We're not gonna have no beef here, but to notice that. And so this is just kind of leading in to you, right, being co-founder, CEO, of these businesses, an entrepreneur. You're gonna have that ability to be able to teach others, to empower others, to be able to mentor others, right? Some people say, oh, they come and they ask for food. Oh, let me get a fish. But if you teach someone how to fish, if you teach them how to fish, woo.
Not willing to, because it is our babies. What we create are quote unquote our babies. But if you're not willing to teach, you can't expand. And what I'm big on, and like I said, I love quotes, but I think of it like night and day. Like, you got to think in this way, where is if your goals take for just you to accomplish them, I'm gonna argue that they're not big enough. I really want to say that every single time, because I think in a lot of ways we think that we can do everything. But if you're doing everything, you can't do anything great, because you're spread too thin. And what I wanted to say earlier, but I didn't get a chance to say it, but the reason why I think I'm really, really good, and I did take this strength finder test, and one of the skill sets that I got identified with is I'm a maximizer. I maximize the people around me, because I'm always looking, what are you passionate about? What are you good at? And what are you doing already? What lights you up? What fuels you? Where do you come from? I'm trying to identify those different things, because if I could put you in those positions in any capacity, you're gonna kill it. You're gonna do 10 times better than what I ever could have did with it. And then share responsibility. Like, this Project Optimism is not mine. Like, Easy Done the company ain't mine. This is a legacy work thing. You know what I'm saying? And I think in a lot of ways, when people are starting something, know that you're starting it. Respectfully, know that you're starting it. And if you really, really want to like get knee deep into it, you better off opening yourself up. For us as God, but open yourself up to know, like, bro, you are a small piece of this puzzle if you really want to be sustainable, And so, bro, we talking some real stuff, man, for real.
And I was deep on your social media one day. You was like, man, like, if your dreams like are not big enough where it includes other people, then we not really dreaming. And that's not just verbatim on what you said, but you had said that, and I was just like, bro, that's really deep. Because there's times where I'm in my space alone, or I'm over the water just really thinking about things, and I have dreams, I have goals, I'm a visionary, but it won't take me only to fulfill these things. So speaking on emotions, what has challenged you emotionally on this journey to build the goals and the dreams that you have in place?
You have to kill the ego. You have to kill the ego. You have to kill the ego. For me, I do take pride in being humble to this work. I've always been a we guy, even when it was just me. Like, when it was just me grinding out those unseen hours, right? But I would say kill the ego in a sense of, and it's in the book too, what I'm big on is like, don't get too high on a compliment and don't get too low on criticism. Because at the end of the day, you gotta walk in like you know better, like you knew this what it was already, Because if you're willing to be all up when it's good, then you're probably gonna be super low when it's bad, And so just me being aware, I mean, the emotional intelligence for me, I just keep on hearing awareness. So I think on this journey, kill the ego, because even right now with Project Optimism, my co-founder, that's my dog. Like we really built, like that's a brotherhood. And so I always say all the time, like Ishmael, like I got it here, you know, with the leap of faith that I took to allow for, you know, us both to eventually quit our job. I started off with, you know, quitting my job, grinding it out for us. And then he was able to do the same thing when he left the university. But I say it very clear to him. I said, hey bro, you are a leader. I got us here, but it's time for you to keep us here. Your skill set and your calling is what we need to take PO to the next level. But that's sometimes hard, because when me and him came together, we were two different entities. And that's why we're both co-founder and CEO. You know, it wasn't like, you know, we started a certain way. It's like, no, we had two different things. We're like, you know what, God, with this prayer, with these conversations, we need to do this together. And so between that, and then also, if I'm being transparent, I gotta free up my time a little bit, because the easily done in company for-profit stuff is really, really going. Really going. So it's allowing for me to really think about, how am I feeling? How am I doing? And so me and him have a great communication system for us to identify what's what, how we need to say things, how we need to run things. Because I know I can always holler at him if something ain't right. Something, hey bro, I need us to pray on this a little bit longer, or whatever. So that's good. But in a lot of ways, relinquishing control as men, you know, that's tough, you know? And so I'm proud of myself for doing that, but it's not easy. It's like the application behind making a decision is the journey. So yeah, that's the one that kind of comes up for me. But yeah, like we probably always had this light about us that God always is gonna challenge us to stay humble. And like, I'm like, I said this sarcastically somewhere, I was at the men's accountability meeting, but I'm like, God, you blessed us with this. And now, like, it's not a curse, but it's like, it's harder. You know what I'm saying? It's harder to not be who we are, and not to shine bright, and not to, you know, just have that quote unquote favor, not just with him, but like favor with people, bro. So yeah, and I know me and you been friends enough where I know you go through that same thing.
Yep. Wow, that's powerful. And so you're very passionate, right? I feel like, you know, goal oriented, like you know what you want, and then when you realize that, you go after it. So where do you get that from though? Like, is that from your dad? Is that from your parents?
I still give it to moms and pops for different reasons.
Okay.
And
if you don't mind too, you can just open up, you know.
Yeah. So I know we was on. Oh yeah, I was hoping that we had this conversation, because that's one of the first things me and you connected on, you know, back in the day. Yeah. But my dad was murdered a month before I was born. Mom's at one point just giving you a cliffhanger, because I used to do this a lot when I was an early speaker, where I would want to have shock value with saying, like, I would say just like this. I would say, before I was born, I was destined to fail. And I would just like pause and just look at the whole crowd on purpose, you know, because I want them to be like, well, what does he mean? What is he talking about? You know? And then when I give him context, I'm saying my dad was murdered a month before I was born. My mom is my superhero to this day. You wouldn't know all this. She has a story within herself too, but she had to give us up at one point because she needed to get right. She needed to get clean, and she has a beautiful story within that. But like, it's a chance that she didn't have, like, she could have stayed in the struggle, you know, and it wouldn't have been like this or where I'm at now, right? And so I'm saying, dang, before I even had a chance at life, I was behind the 8 ball. No pun intended. Yeah. It was already like, dang, bro, like your trajectory ain't looking good the way, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I champion who my dad was, because one of the biggest things, and you know this, you from the Bay Area, you understand this, but my dad had real life transferable skills that if he had a Project Optimism, if he had a set as a mentor, or money to have his back, he would be able to do the things that I'm doing today. And so I always say it very proudly that yes, I look like him, but people say I act just like him. So I always say I'm his second chance at life. Yeah. That like, it's a lot of people that come from where we come from that could be doing great things, but they didn't have the exposure, they didn't have the opportunity, they didn't have that second chance. I think about my man, dang, Jarrell. He passed away 16, 17 years old. Dang, you low key, that's probably why I brought him up. You low key remind me of him. But he was in that, like, trying to, I'm gonna just keep it real because everybody know it. He was trying to be kind of in the streets, like, and he didn't necessarily, at least outside looking in, he didn't have to do that. He was like, had both parents, like, show love. He was the reason why I got to ride my first go-kart, because he had a go-kart where we was living in Richmond, you know what I'm saying? But point being is, he didn't get a chance to age out of that phase of trying to be tough, trying to be in the streets of X, Y, and Z, and passed away and got murdered 16, 17 years old, you know? And for me, like, those are the stories I carry with me. And so you talk about the passion, it's not just passion, but it's a response. Like, I know that there's other people out there that didn't get a chance that I just simply had just because I don't know sometimes, you know? And so with that, I can't blow it. I can't blow the bag, and I want to bring as many people with me and support as many people as possible, because it's a lot of people that didn't get here where we're at right now, Said.
Wow. So how long did you live in Richmond for?
Richmond, we moved out of Richmond basically middle school. Okay. And then, so let me give you all the cities. Yeah. Started off in Oakland. I think we started off in Richmond, but I was too young for that. Started off in Oakland. Stuff I remember. I'm going to go from where I remember. Oakland, then Richmond, then basically still Richmond, but it was 53rd Street, so technically it was El Cerrito, but we were still going to Richmond schools. Okay. Then Fairfield, we stayed in Fairfield for a little bit, and then we moved to Vallejo. And then from Vallejo, moved to Sac. And so basically, literally half of my life I've been in the Bay Area, and the other half been in Sacramento. I think the last 3 years made it where I've lived in Sacramento longer than I lived in the Bay Area. But I'm grown now, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? When you say where you from, it's like when you was young, where you was raised. And so yeah, bro, like, and it's so funny being a young cat in Richmond, bro. We didn't know all the stuff that was happening. Talk about awareness, like we didn't know until later, like, oh shoot, that's what was happening over here. I do have a moment that I will say did define it kind of robbed me of my childhood a little bit, or my innocence, I like to say. But I'll never forget, I was going back to my grandma's house, and I remember seeing like a dude next to, and it was like early, like nobody even noticed it. But I seen a dude like laying next to his Camaro at this liquor store. I was walking to the spot, but he was like lifeless. He wasn't even moving. And I'm like, I feel like I'm like in shock or something, because I didn't react to it. I just walked past, seen it. I'm like, this don't look right. But I'm not like shocked or scared or anything. And I go to my grandma's house, and then later on you hear the ambulance, all the stuff. But dude was dead. Like he was no longer. And I felt like this colorful world of a young person riding this bike all through Richmond. You know, we deep 20 bikes, X, Y, and Z, the good old days. I feel like turned into like, went from color, like being color coded to like black and white. Cause it's like, oh shoot, like people he's dead, you know? And so like, in a lot of ways, my mom being my superhero, it seemed like she just kept on moving us further up to Sacramento at the right times. At the right times, bro. And love, I got a whole bunch of brothers and sisters, but my brother that's in jail right now, that's been in and out of jail, I feel like he wasn't as fortunate. Like I feel like he didn't get out fast enough, you know? So yeah, bro, I forgot what your question was, but I started going back.
This actually makes really great sense, because making it a full circle, right? So I asked as far as how long you lived in Richmond, you were in Vallejo, I brought up your parents, and you just shared that. But the thing is this, you said my parents or my dad or my mom or this person, they didn't have the resources. Listen how important this is. They didn't have the resources. Now you're building something, or have built something that provides resources. Oh my goodness.
And that's why, like, when I worked here it go, bro, you really cooking this full circle conversation. So people would ask like, why are you so passionate? Why are you like, low key, like, why are you so good at what you do? Why are you so happy about what you do? Why you have patience with this young person, or X, Y, and Z? It's not a job to me, bro. Like this is real life. Like, as much as I'm serving, and this is compassion fatigue. I'm actually doing a keynote speak. Thank God is God. I'm being a keynote speaker in Southern California in August, and it's like the biggest message is about compassion fatigue. And one of the biggest messages within that, bro, is when we're showing up the way we're showing up for these young people, for the community, we probably will never say no if we're not careful, because we would look at ourselves in some of the people that we're serving. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, dang, if I say no, then what happens to them? What if I'll never hear? What if they pass away? What if they go down the wrong route? And so in a lot of ways, what makes me great sometimes, if I'm not careful, can burn me out. And that's one of the biggest messages I want to make sure that everybody's understanding about this work is, and not no badness to, I'm not demonizing nobody by saying this, but takers take, is no limit to taking, but givers have a limit. And that's typically when they get close to burning out. And so in a lot of ways, we gotta be aware. And like, you going back to that emotional intelligence is like low key the key of this conversation. It's like, if you don't know who you are, you don't know what, if you're not actively working on yourself or trying to figure out ways to unlearn and learn new things that's gonna allow for you to be your best self, you're gonna keep on making the same mistakes. You're gonna keep on going down those same rabbit holes, and this insanity. And so, yeah, bro. The way you're asking these questions, I don't know if I'm fully answering them no more, but I really appreciate that we're thinking the way we're thinking right now. So if you could throw a little bit more at me, I might be able to give you more.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so, with that being said, full circle. So we're full circle.
But I gotta say this: 8-ball corner pocket for the game. 8-ball corner pocket for the game. It's been too long. It's been too long. 8-ball corner pocket. Nah, I said 8-ball corner pocket. Easy Done and Company, Project Optimism. The game, the conversation ain't over, but the game is over.
Look, they say you can't be the man in his own house.
But you know what? This is what I want to say real quick about that. Just real quick. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't when you have a pool table at the house. But I kid you not, the last time I played on this pool table was the last time somebody came over. So I ain't trying to hear that. I ain't played with this in a long time. Let's get back to this interview.
Strong, right? Because this can be exhausted at times, right? The ability to stay strong, the ability to know your why, right? You have times in life where you feel like you're going to give up, quit. You're not going to put in that work that you feel like you need to do. But then you think of your why and your mission, and you have said that. So like, I look at it and say, dang, like, do you get this, from your parents, or do you, like, is this passing? You said it's a response because you grew up and realized other people didn't have resources. You've created a place where now people will be able to have resources. So just making it full circle, what can you share to those out there who want to walk this journey? So I want you to talk about the struggle in it. I want you to talk about your self-awareness into this, but I also want you to talk about the end goal. Like, what can you share to those people out there?
It's a lot of things when you ask that. That's a good, that's a whole Thanksgiving plate, bro. The first things that came to mind though for me is, and I swear, like, I didn't make this book for sales. I made this as an assignment, as a purpose, for my purpose, walking in purpose and leaving something, right? Blueprint, right? But a lot of the exercises in here is asking for those different things, right? Even like the way we talk to each other, or talk to ourselves, like self-talk, right? It's an activity in this book that I would say, like, we need to practice on a daily, where it's like, what are you saying to yourself? Because if you want to do something, you got to do stuff that, like, people might not even feel. They might not, literally, every endeavor, people didn't really know or care to know or believed in it until they just seen how consistent I was with it, right? And so in a lot of ways, like, one part of it is saying, what are you saying to yourself? Because in a lot of ways, we can say people hating on us, we can say we don't have this, but in a lot of ways, it's just us getting away of us. And so identifying those different things that you are saying to yourself on a daily and redirect those thoughts. Like, real talk, it might sound like an easy practice, but if you peep how much you probably down the different things that you're doing, how you thinking, bro, it could get ugly, And so I'm always just trying to practice that awareness towards what I'm trying to do, and I always speak life. So I say speak life to the things that you want to do, and then write things down, vlog it, find like-minded individuals. This is what I say all the time too. Whatever you want to do, I guarantee it's probably somebody that's doing it. Yeah. So find out a way to intern, find out a way to volunteer, find out a way to partner, find out ways to add value to people that's already doing it. Because I tell people all the time, I work for two different nonprofits. I work for two different nonprofits for a good amount of years in a school district that really allowed for me to have that launching point. It wasn't like an instant thing. A lot of people want that instant because we on Instagram, but that's not realistic. Like, you know, like you want the tick to the talk and it's not gonna rock like that. I just did that just now because I'm with Seti B, and I know Seti was rapping at one point. But anyway, but on a serious tip, so I would say mindset on things, speak life, find out ways to add value in spaces that you're interested in. Because in a lot of ways, this is what I say to people too. I got to mess up and I got to do glorious things on somebody else's dime. And respectfully, like I really took it serious on what I was doing, but what I'm getting at is before you make a permanent decision to say I'm about to start a business and do X, Y, and Z, go see if you even want to do that. Go find out first, you know? And I just really want to encourage people, like YouTube University and Google University or Google State is right there at the tip of our fingers, man. And so it ain't nothing we can't really have access to. And this AI stuff, is like, we don't have any excuses, you know, no excuses to get to the bag and get to the impact and get to the products or whatever we're trying to do. And so I would say those are the parts that kind of come to mind, quick, tangible things. But I think we should constantly ask ourselves, like, why are we doing it? And the reason why, like I told you earlier in our conversation, was the people pleasing part, right? Like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you going to school? Like, I don't want you to go to school just to go to school, even though I promote higher learning and going to get your degree in X, Y, and Z. But honestly, what I tell people about going to school is it builds your network, and it allows for you to try, especially when you're in your undergrad, like you're trying to figure out, you know, the general ed classes, and maybe before you make a decision on what your major is, you can figure out what the heck you want to do, you know? And so I think college and universities is a huge tool, but at this point, what we're seeing in 2024 is not the end all be all. And I'm an example of that. Like, that's probably one of the biggest things I want to champion every single time, y'all, is I like to say that it's multiple ways to obtain success, and I'm one of them, you know, and you're one of them. And so just to think about that as something to really maximize your potential is like just figuring out what are the different things you need to do on the day-to-day to get to your goals. You could do one thing every single day this month, and say you got 30 days in the month. That's 30 things you did towards your business or your goal. Simplify it. You can have this big picture thing, but that might overwhelm you. You can have that at the top in the back of your head, but start looking down and work your way up. And all of a sudden you might look up and like, oh shoot, look how far I've came. And so I'd like to simplify stuff. Yeah, I have to, yes. Yep. And habits, Atomic Habits, that's another book you probably know because I know you read your books, James Clear. Yeah, but that one right there is just systems, like your motivation, but systems are gonna always, even when you motivated or X, Y, and Z, this always gonna keep a string line, you know, it's gonna keep you straight. And so systems, bro, and people power, bro. Like, I'm big on people, That's why I win, because I'm about people, yeah.
So, and this is probably the last question here, but your younger self, where you are right now, what would you tell your younger self right now?
You about to be straight, bro. You about to be straight. But I probably wouldn't even talk about the business stuff. I would talk about one of the negative sides that I don't really get to I know I've talked about it, but I don't think I said it on wax. But one of the things that stood out for me too is like the advice that I would give to my sister or to a girl mentee. I should have been giving that same advice to my boy self, as in like value your body, like don't be out there like hoeing around or doing X, Y, and Z. Like that type of stuff catch up with you, bro. Like that's a real thing. And I created a habit in a negative way that was like, that was damn near a part of my identity. Like I played sports, scored a few touchdowns, X, Y, and Z, but that wasn't my sport. You know what my sport was, you know? And so with that came with a lot of like work that I had to do before I even met my wife that I had to do. I probably would have never even met her. I probably would have never even seen her. And so I think younger self aiming about the business, because that's gonna be straight. God don't miss when it comes down to the way we show up in that part. But I think me as a human, me as a man, my constant question I got from my therapist, and it was a very simple question. He would say, what type of man do you want to be, Armani? It's in the book too. What type of man do you want to be, Armani? Because in a lot of ways, that was my moral compass. And then with the young people, that was my other set of accountability, because what I'm telling these young people, what I'm pouring into these young people, I'm like, dang, this is good advice. I need this too. What I'm researching, what I'm learning, that's for me too. So in a lot of ways, I think valuing myself as a young man, and like, I got lost in it. I never smoked in my life, never drank in my life. My drug of choice was that. And that being the case, it was hard to like realize like, oh shoot, bro, like this ain't it. To the point where this though, like I would even tell the homies like, hey bro, this is my problem. And everybody like, that ain't no problem, bro. Like saying that's not a problem, and it's like, dang, it's a problem to me. So I'm feeling isolated almost, because people ain't truly, that's not that they're taking it as a joke, but they don't really understand that it's some parallels between a drug addiction and a sex addiction, or all those different things. So like I want to always normalize that, because if we don't, we pay for it on the back end. And so I'm gonna always be transparent with anything that I go through or grow through, because I think it's gonna help somebody else, either while they're going through it, or so they don't have to go through it. And that's mentorship one-on-one.
That's huge. And I've heard on social media, this guy, he says he grew up and he felt like he's supposed to be teaching, right? Just teaching. And then he realized that he hates teaching. And he says but he loves learning. And so the reason why he teaches is so that he can learn through his teaching. So he learns twice.
That's a bar.
Right? Because you're teaching someone, but then now you have to come up with the material, and now as you're coming up with the material, it's hitting you different. You're like, oh, I didn't even know that. So when you're teaching, you're learning twice. And he says that's why. He says he loves learning so much that he uses it through teaching.
So you've been holding out, bro. Send me stuff when you get stuff like that. That's fire.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Yep.
I speak so much, I do so many workshops, I do so many things that like, this is who I am, bro. Like I've really shaped the person that I am today in a lot of ways, because you said it, I'm an educator. I am a teacher of things that like, to this day, the benefit is I'm not giving you something that I don't use. I practice this stuff. I have to, you know what I'm saying? And so, dang, you just dropped one. What's bro name? What was the Instagram? Alex. We're gonna put it, yeah. But that right there, and that's the blessing too. When you go into a space like, how can I give? You always receive. So like, obviously, bro, you hit me up. It's a no-brainer. I'm about to be here. Tap in, subscribe, click the button down there. You know how you do the button to the YouTube, yeah. And leave a comment too. Algorithms.
We appreciate you. This is Said Talk Podcast. We got Armani Easley here, man. Greatly appreciate you, my brother. Yes, most definitely, man. Yeah, we are out, baby.